Good morning, everybody. What's going on? Welcome back. I'm your host, Don Martino. Welcome back to Movie Mornings. This is the show where we talk about a lot of different things having to do with entertainment and movies and all sorts of fun stuff. We got some fun stories today. We finally got a casting for Silver Surfer, which we haven't gone over here on the show yet, and a couple of other little fun things and a lot of fun reviews to start out with. But before we get started with all that, I want to introduce you to my cohort, Mr. Jose Espinel. How's it going, Jose?
I'm doing amazingly. I'm excited to be back here filming another episode, getting to talk to you guys about everything movies, entertainment, and shows, and all that jazz. And yeah, I'm just ready to get into all these reviews and all this stuff that we have to talk about.
For sure, man. I can't agree more, and super stoked to get into this. Although I do have a pretty good cold on me. It's rough, but I'm gonna try to get through the show otherwise. So we should be okay, I think, for the most part. One of the things I wanted to talk about that I watched, I'm not gonna necessarily like review this per se the way that we do other things, but I did want to kind of go over this just a little bit because I finally did get around to the Quiet on Set documentary. First thing I want to say about that is very well done for something that was done on Investigation Discovery. And I mean, seriously, most of their stuff looks kind of cheap if you watch their channel. But this one was really, really good. It was a premium doc, it felt like, and I was very thrilled to see that from the making of it perspective. And then obviously the content in there was quite disturbing and a lot of other things. And the reason I wanted to bring this up is because I felt a little personally affected by this when they said that when they were going over the support letters over Brian Peck and who was in court that day on his side of it. A couple of the names that were brought up were Ryder Strong and Wilfred Dell, and I wanted to start there because I've met Ryder Strong and Wilfred Dell, and I know that a lot of the coverage on this is using them in the thumbnails for people who support Brian Peck, and they're kind of in a shitstorm as expected over sending their support to Brian Peck. But again, I've met them briefly. I think that they're very good people from my standpoint. I do recommend everybody listens to their podcast episode that they did on Brian Peck to hear their perspective on it and why those support letters were sent in. It's not like when Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis sent in support for Danny Masterson and they put out their little apology video. This is a little bit different. I mean, this has a little bit more. This is a whole podcast episode where they sat down with a therapist and spoke about their guilt. And it's not titled anything. I had a hard time finding it myself on the Pod Meets World podcast feed, but I do recommend finding it. It's February, and then there's a date after it, and that's the title of the episode. If you listen to that episode, they go pretty in depth about their perspective on it and why those support letters were sent in. And I highly recommend listening to it from their perspective because for me, I'm just talking for me, like I believe them and understand, that they were also very much duped by this Brian Peck person. And, I hate to start out with a controversial topic, but I had watched the doc and by the way, I by no means should Drake Bell have gone through what he went through. It's terrible. And I completely sympathize with this situation, and I don't want to like downplay that, but I just felt a little personally affected because a couple people that I've met who again from my standpoint are very good people were brought into the fold and yeah, I recommend you guys check out their podcast episode on the Pod Meets World podcast feed on it. I know everybody's going to have a different perspective, but if you listen to the episode from beginning to end, I do think it sheds light on what they went through and their experience with the gentleman who had, gosh, I don't even want to say it, sexually assaulted Drake Bell, and why they were. I'm not saying that they were as victimized as Drake was, but I'm saying that they give perspective on as to why they were in that courtroom that day on the Brian Peck side of it. And I know it looks bad on the surface, but if you hear their story, it's very interesting and compelling. And I hope that everybody just, realizes that, people like Brian Peck, they're very good at what they do in terms of duping people. And yeah, yeah, it's scary. It's a scary world, very scary world. And I don't know. I do want to hear what the audience thought of the doc, though, because the doc from the very beginning to the end of it. So again, I didn't want to like review it per se, but I just want to just shed a little light on that and my perspective of it, and why I felt a little personally, again, affected by some of the things that were said in there. Because it did involve some people that I've met, I have pictures with on my Instagram, and I wanted to shed a little light on that. But anyway, we can move on from that. I don't know, Jose, did you get a chance to see the doc though before we do?
I've seen a couple episodes
Yeah,
so far. I mean, so far, like you said, it's a very nicely done and
it's
shot
very well done. Yeah,
doc. Yeah, it is very well done and very disturbing in the sense of, hearing everyone's story of
yeah,
how they were treated and stuff. Working on sets for their respective roles on their shows, and shedding light on the situations that they all went through. Um, but I mean, yeah, like you said, I haven't watched that podcast episode yet, but I'm definitely going to, after I finish watching the doc, go out and check out that episode for
yeah.
sure.
Yeah, and also I do recommend checking out Dan Schneider's statements post the podcast episode, or not the podcast episode, post the doc, because he did a podcast where I don't want to call it an apology, but he was asked questions about his deplorable behavior. And his behavior was absolutely pretty unforgivable. I'm not trying to say it wasn't. It's just because it was pretty bad. The stuff that Dan Schneider did and the way that he ran his shows was terrible. But I do believe people can change. You know what I mean? I always let the punishment fit the crime. You know what I mean? I think that the world is built into the criminal justice system for a reason. But yeah, I do. I do believe a lot of what Dan Schneider said though in the post interview, and I don't think he's this terrible human. I think he's probably just a guy who went down the wrong path. That was my perspective on the doc, and let power get to his head, and unfortunately affected a lot of women in the workplace, as probably a lot of the children's programming was ran though too at the same time. Like, I don't think Nickelodeon is an isolated incident by any means. I think there was a lot of this stuff happening in children's programming. um, but Brian Peck should absolutely still be locked up for his behavior till today. That would be my perspective on it. And he got off way too easy to me. He pretty much got a slap on the wrist for everything that he had done, which is wrong. And yeah, horrible, horrible, horrible. That man should be not working in Hollywood right now. Dan Schneider also should not be working in Hollywood right
No.
now. And he admitted as much. At least Dan Schneider, did something after to admit as
Mm-hmm.
much. And at least he's taking responsibility for his actions and saying, and again, the behavior is unforgivable, but at least he's saying, like, hey, if people find that content sexual, if like I was, whatever, for children's programming, he's saying to cut it, and if that's what we need to do, then that's what you do. At least he's admitting, he's like, this is my creation, but if you find what I did in my creation's offensive, and let's cut it, because he said he doesn't want his programming to be offensive, and he's acknowledging his behaviors. And yeah, I thought that was real big of him. I think more of this stuff needs to happen, and more documentaries like this should happen, and make sure that they're as well done as this production for this documentary was, because it really does help get the message across far more than just a little segment that you'll watch on Investigation Discovery's TV channel. If you do something that's like a full-on production and put the resources and money into it, it clearly shows that it's getting seen by people, and they're believing it, rather than just a little segment that happen on TV. This is
Right.
actually getting the message across. So anyway, I just wanted to say, everybody behind that doc, good job. Again, we do need more of this to shed light on those things, and it's not something I'm gonna like review in terms of like I'm gonna grade it or something. I just wanted to talk about the content in there more or less, and just kind of go with that. That should be the topic of conversation around this doc, not so much the making of it. We can maybe talk about that at another time, another date, but we do need to shed light on the conversations that the doc has brought upon us, and the truth that the doc has brought upon us, more so because it's something, it's more important than just, oh, I saw a bad cut there in the doc, that could have been moved around, or whatever you want
Right.
to say.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's just, it's irrelevant at the moment to me. Maybe another day, another time. I feel icky trying to review it in that manner. I just wanted to
Yeah.
shed light.
I feel like that's my opinion in most documentaries. Is that I don't really go into docs wanting to critique.
Yeah.
Oh, this is a bad cut here. Oh, this could have been done differently, or this
Yeah.
could have been done this way. I just go in and look to see if the content and nature of the documentary is actually, either shedding any light or actually
Right.
doing any
Right.
any good on
Right.
said subject being
Yeah.
covered in the doc. Yeah,
Yeah. And it's like, it's not that we can't sit here and critique it. We probably could.
exactly.
It's just
Yeah,
that it's not
it's
the,
not
it's
not what we
not
look.
relevant.
Yeah,
Not
exactly.
relevant right
Right.
now. I don't feel like, I don't want the conversation about the doc to become that, and I
Right.
don't want to be a voice that adds to that conversation right now when uh, things are being done, light is being shed, new progress is being made because of it. It's what it did is obviously extremely important, and I'll just kind of leave it there at that point. But yeah, but good job to the makers still. Like, I'm still giving them compliments for the incredible waves that they've made happen in this media
Mm-hmm.
landscape. It's pretty incredible. So
For
that's the
sure.
best thing I could do right now, is just compliment that and celebrate that. So more of it, though. Seriously, make more of it.
No, for
If
sure.
let's get these jackasses out of the industry, and make sure that uh, people who are trying to follow their dream, and make it past the line where they can do so, are able to do so with as little stress as humanly possible, and like just in environments that are professional
Yeah,
and not.
that's the thing too, is working on sets, whether it doesn't matter what position or what job you have, is already stress enough, and so
Yeah.
to add even more on top of it, and especially in that kind of sense, it's just not
Yeah.
healthy for
Yeah.
anyone. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and not that I would have done anything as deplorable as some of these people, but it really does make you think back onto your own life and your own perspective and your own behavior in professional workplaces, and think, oh man, did I handle that as best as I could, or things like that, and you try to go about things differently too, in your own life and your own behavior, when you see things like that, because not that you don't want to be a part of the gotcha crowd, because the gotcha crowd is so gotcha that they're gonna get you anyway. I feel like everybody's got to go
Yeah.
after somebody. I'm not talking about that as much as just you hear things of as to what Dan Schneider did or Brian Peck did, and you're sitting there like, oh my god, like you want to be better yourself, because even just some of the slighter behaviors. I mean, forget about the big stuff. I mean, don't forget about it. It's important, but I'm saying outside of the big stuff, like even just some of their slight behaviors are like, oh my, some of the little things are like, oh my gosh, and that's what makes me want to go back and think about some of my own behaviors in workplaces in the past, and be like, I probably could have conducted myself better in a certain situation at times, and things of that nature, and let's let men and women get along in a workplace, and not, yeah, it's icky. I don't want to go into it, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, I just wanted to shed a little light on that. Let's move on. We do have a fun show, but I figured I'd get the controversy out of the way first. But I wanted to start with actual reviews here, where we're really going to critique things and get into things, and real actual movies. Not that Doc isn't, but you know what I'm saying. I wanted to talk about some films here for sure because we got to see some incredible films and not so incredible films too. So let's get into all of that. I'm going to start with mine. I'm going to start with Immaculate. I know, Jose, you haven't had a chance to see this one yet, but it's a horror
Never will.
picture. This is directed by Michael Mohan, who directed another film that I thoroughly enjoyed entitled The Voyeurs. Sydney Sweeney starred in The Voyeurs and also stars in this one. And I really liked Michael Mohan's work on The Voyeurs, and I was looking forward to see what he could do with the horror picture. Sydney Sweeney plays Sister Cecilia, who goes into the convent and is basically looking to become a nun, but not in the traditional sense. In other words, there's a little bit more pressure put on her to be a nun, pretty much set up close to the beginning of the film. It's a little bit of a different take on what it's like to be a nun. And there's another film starring the late great Audrey Hepburn called A Nun's Story that really scares you away from being a nun, probably in a more realistic sense. This one obviously taking some liberties and not like being accurate like a nun's story would be. You know, this one's given like just a horrific take on what it's like to be a nun. Jose's holding this cross. Anyway, I'm not going to give any spoilers or anything like that, so don't worry for those of you who haven't seen it. But what I do want to talk about is the making of this project and kind of how it all came together, which I find to be very impressive because Sydney Sweeney had auditioned for this role when she was 16, really got attached to the script, and now she's in her 20s, right, and wanting to revisit it, and brought this to Michael Mohan as a producer, and because she just couldn't forget about the script and had a real passion for it and wanted to play this role. And when you watch this film, it really does show why, because Sydney Sweeney is perfect for the role. I mean, as Sister Cecilia, she destroys. I mean, this is probably her career best performance. And I say that as a fan of Euphoria, which I've seen the incredible things she's done in that show. This is next level for her. And I was so impressed by the amount of passion and work she put into the performance of this. This movie's done on a pretty modest budget, and you could tell, but at the same time, like it's got incredible set design and incredible cinematography. It's shot incredibly well. Every actor that steps on in terms of the side characters and things, they all really make this work and sell this as being realistic, even though again it's not a realistic take on what it's like to be a nun, you know, but they make it feel authentic and real. It's really great that they retextualize the story to be a bit more of a period piece, I guess you could say. From what my understanding was, the original script was a little bit more modern, and this one is, you know, takes place way back, which I thought it just added so much nuance to the visuals of this film, and just, you know, how brilliantly directed this was. Again, it's got some really nice little tension building moments that lead up to I don't want to say jump scares per se, but there's, you know, they do have like nice little like areas of scares, I guess, where you kind of can audibly gasp once in a while. And I thought that was really good of it as a horror picture, to actually put some real scares into it. My biggest issue was mainly the first half, where it kind of dives into a lot of the gimmicky jump scares. A lot of the tropes that you've seen in films before have to do with, like, there's this, you know, the bird hitting the window. That you got one of those here. Those types of jump scares I really would rather get away from, but for the most part, this film is all script, and that's what I like about it. It's kind of not the jump scares are there, the gimmicky ones and the not so gimmicky ones are both in the film, but at the same time, the script kind of overpowers it in a big way and really makes it something onto itself, and the storytelling of it is what overpowers the jump scares or the things I don't like, I suppose, too. And I think that it's worth watching for the narrative and the performances, again, which are all great. There's not a flaw amongst the performances in this film. I thought everybody just did a stellar job who worked on it, even though Sydney Sweeney, you were spending 85% of the time with her character. and again, just knocks us out of the park. And I love the tone of this horror film. It's kind of a la Rosemary's Baby a little bit in the tone of it, even though the story's not a mimic of that by any means. But the tone of it goes back to real true horror. And I think what I found to be so refreshing about this film is that it's a horror film with balls. You know what I mean? Like, it has real balls on it, and we don't see a lot of them anymore. Like, I think Evil Dead Rise was a pretty good one, but to reference, but like all the Evil Deads always kind of have some balls on them, and go that extra mile. This one to me was kind of like that, where it just went that extra mile to really hone in, like, not the scariness of it, but sort of the, just like, I don't know how to explain it. The balls to the wall horror of it, it's very, very good. It's a very bloody, very gory film as well. There are some really disturbing scenes. I actually walked into this thinking I was getting a PG-13. I don't know why, but it's a hard R. Like, the kills that are in there per se. It's not a slasher, so take me the wrong way when I say that, but there's a lot of disturbing imagery in the film, and a lot of things that will make you audibly yell and gasp and like, whoa. And I can't wait till, like, this has a home release so we could see all the reactions come out of people that haven't seen it. I think that'll be a lot of fun. It's just it's really, it's a creepy movie. It's not like incredibly scary or anything like that, but it's got a little bit of a creep factor to it, just an eerie tone throughout. The score is remarkable, by the way. It's just incredible. And Sydney Sweeney's performance again, she commits to this. It's outstanding, and I was just like, what a really cool, unique story that we haven't seen before in horror. We've seen similar things ish, but not really. I mean, this is really its own standalone thing, and I do see why she had the passion to adapt this and want to be a part of it and want to play this role. It's really incredible, and I think that the way it ends, it may offer a sequel. If we do get a sequel, I think we can for this one. This is one of those few times where I'll say, I think I would like a continuation of this. And if we do, I just hope that they keep Michael Mohan on to direct, because his directing was so stellar, and he just understood what the story needed at every point. And wow, I mean, I walked out of this one like, wow, this is like one of my favorite movies this year. This is a really, really stellar horror flick, and I didn't think it was going to be much. I'll be honest. It really, really stunned me and just floored me, and I was very, very happy with this one. This is one of those I could see being an honorable mention for myself by the end of the year, because I just, again, it's such a fun one, man. It really is. It's so fun, and just but creepy too at the same time, and it keeps a really nice balance of the scares and the creep. I'm gonna give this one a must watch. That's it. Just go see it. It's so phenomenal. I just really had a great time with it. So those are my thoughts on Immaculate. And I think, Jose, if I'm not mistaken, you saw Cabrini. Am I correct? So
Cabrini, yes, I
yes.
did
So
see that
let's
one.
talk about Cabrini. I'll let you take the floor on that one.
Yeah, I like how we decided to put the two nun movies back to back.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, it was a good pairing there. Yeah.
yeah, so yeah, Cabrini, a movie directed by Alejandro Gomez Monteverde, who really the only movie of his that I've seen beforehand was The Sound of Freedom, which I technically, according to audiences, I'm not really in the minority, but I enjoyed it,
Yeah.
specifically for the issue that it portrayed, because it's an issue that is horrible. And again, to get, kind of controversial in a sense, not really, but like more, I guess, graphic is, what Sound of Freedom showed with child trafficking and how profitable and popular it is in this world. I like that aspect of what Sound of Freedom did. But this one here, Cabrini, a casting that I really, for the most part, don't know anyone. I mean, there's a couple in there that I know. John Lithgow. Uh, who else is in there? A couple others that I just can't remember off the top of my head. Were in that. Some that I've seen before in other projects. But this movie is basically about this Italian immigrant nun who works very closely with the Vatican the Pope and Archbishop, uh, basically wants to start orphanages and hospitals in the east side of the world, so like China and all that, but gets sent to New York instead because this was during the time in Ellis Island when a lot of Italian immigrants were moving to the U.S. And so she gets sent to the U.S. to start an orphanage for kids who don't have homes or families, specifically the Italian ones. And so this movie is, and it's based on a true story as well, which is what I loved a lot. It's based on the true story of this Italian immigrant nun who basically became one of the most well-known nuns in the entire world because of the amount of hospitals and orphanages that
Yeah.
she opened around the world. And the really amazing thing about it too is that every single one of those orphanages and hospitals that she opened up, all of them were run only by women, no men at all, which is what I find insanely impressive and honorable. To see, a very heavily woman-centered project like this, something so, religious and awe-inspiring. I loved the music. The scoring was really cool. Hearing some, Italian in there was nice. There was some really beautifully shot scenes, and the performances, again, from these actors and actresses that I've never really seen before in movies, they did phenomenally well. The conviction, especially the main actress, the one who plays Cabrini, which I believe her name, yeah, Christiana Delana. She absolutely carried this movie. Her performances, her conviction, absolutely a star. I want to see some more stuff from her because she is she put in a one hell of a performance. Um, and and yeah, what else can I say? I mean, yeah, it was just a very very beautiful movie. This is definitely Alejandro's best movie for sure. I mean, he's only done I think like three other films, and none of them have done good really. So I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, there's not really much to compare it to. But this is definitely, without a shadow of a doubt, his best movie, and I feel like he should do more. I want to see more from him,
Okay.
especially of this caliber. Um, it was, and it seems like this company, Angel Studios, is always just producing these kind of original, based on a true story movies, which I like to see, and I can't wait to see what else comes out from this company. Um, so yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and give this a must watch.
Okay.
I do definitely think that everyone should go and watch this movie just because of the story that it tells from beginning to end. The fact that she just never gives up and just keeps pushing until she completes her dream through all the ups and downs that she, you know, gets put through. It was just amazing and inspiring to see. It inspires me as a man to
Yeah.
to just keep pushing through and never giving up in life until I get to my end goal, which I feel like is what a lot of people need in their life. Um, so yeah.
All right, perfect. That's the review of Cabrini there. Very good on that. Actually kind of curious to see this one. This one does sound a little bit more closer to the one I was referring to earlier, A Nun Story with Audrey Hepburn, where it's a lot more of a realistic take, which
Hmm.
I thoroughly enjoy that. And A Nun Story, to me, is an absolute masterpiece till this day. That movie I recommend to everybody who's thinking about being a nun, so you can see the actual trials and tribulations of it prior to it. But this isn't about a nun story. This is just a review of Cabrini, and yeah, you sold me, so I want to check it out at least. So there you go. All right, guys, look, our next review, I kind of want to pair two movies together here. I want to try this experiment just with this one particular case because I think that these movies are comparable but yet so different in a weird way. I think that both of the movies I want to talk about here have different problems but similar strengths to them, and that's why I wanted to pair the two movies together.
I think I know which
And
ones are coming.
yes, so these are two action films that we were able to see. The releases are Roadhouse and Monkey Man, so I'll go ahead and set both of these up really quick. So Roadhouse is directed by Doug Liman. Doug Liman put his heart and soul into this, according to him. I like Doug Liman as a director personally. For the most part, I think most of his movies have been good. He's definitely, as of recent days, has had a couple of very bad ones, like the one with Daisy Ridley and Tom Holland. I didn't like. I can't remember the name of that,
Oh,
but it's.
Chaos Walking.
I did not like that one. That's an
Yeah,
example of a
nah.
recent one I didn't think was good from Lyman. But like he's also like of recent days did American Made, which is great, with Tom Cruise. So he does have his good pictures
And
still.
also
Just
he's got Edge of Tomorrow, which was a great
Edge
one
of
from him
Tomorrow
as
was
well.
awesome. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm not saying all his movies have been bad as of late, but then he's got Jumper with Hayden Christensen, which people aren't too hot on. So there's that. So either way, and I love Hayden, but yeah, no. Either way, the guy, he's got his hit or miss career, but I would say 75%. He's positive. His movies have been
Oh, he
pretty
does
good.
have he does have the Bourne movies, so you
Yeah,
can't
yeah,
done
for
great
sure.
there.
For sure. So I was still interested in Roadhouse, just hearing his passion, and Amazon Prime put 80 million into this one, so they were clearly very confident in it and wanted to see what would become of this. Jose's eyes widen like that's way too much money for this. Anyway, look, the thing about this is it's Roadhouse. It's a remake of the '80s film with Swayze, and so I mean it doesn't offer much. I mean the '80s one didn't offer too much, so I wasn't expecting much from this. But my overall thoughts of this movie is that when I look back on the experience, it's pretty empty. I think it has great scenes in it. I think that the action sequences are pretty fantastic. Gyllenhaal does a phenomenal job as Dalton and being this guy who's gonna watch over this roadhouse essentially. And my issue is mainly the backstory of things. I didn't think Conor McGregor was good in the movie, even though he made me laugh throughout. I don't think he was a very good acting choice for the villain. I think you could have fed somebody else the same lines. I think that was a perfect role for Jason Statham. I think if Jason Statham had done that role, I probably would have taken to it more. He's much more experienced in this world and would have
Yeah,
done a
especially
better
after the
job.
Beekeeper.
Yeah, I think he would have done a perfect job for that. But I can also see why Statham would have read a script like this and stayed away from it. So, just considering the backstory again, is just it lacks the backstory, and that's kind of where I want to transition into Monkey Man. Is just from there. Monkey Man is a movie directed by Dev Patel, and it's about an Indian man, who uh, is trying to find his way, really, and is having a hard time, being, but he's taking these jobs that are shitty, and he's just kind of fed up at the end of it. And there's actually a lot of groundwork laid for this film. So the problem I had with Roadhouse, this Monkey Man kind of covers, and like I said, I think I already mentioned, but it's directed and stars Dev Patel, which I thought a lot of that was impressive because again, he does a great job with the action sequences and starring in those and directing those. It's incredible what he does as far as that goes. So this also has stunning, phenomenal action sequences, and I would even argue the ones in Monkey Man are slightly more memorable than the ones in Roadhouse. My issue with Monkey Man is that the backstory is too much. It is too widespread. It is too heavy-handed at times. And so both movies have the opposite problems, but the similar strength of just great balls to the wall
Yeah.
action in both of them. And they're both shot very, very well. So I would say with Monkey Man, I think that the film to me was a little bit better than Roadhouse, just because I'd rather almost have too much than too little. And I am going to give each of these a different grade. But Jose, I just wanted to hear your take on both films and what you think. I mean,
Okay.
starting with Roadhouse and then moving into Monkey
Yeah.
Man. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I had a good time with Roadhouse. I really Jake Gyllenhaal definitely carried the movie obviously
Yeah.
because his character was the center of this movie. I find a lot of similarities in Roadhouse to other movies that I've seen in the past, which is probably
Yeah.
why I didn't maybe enjoy certain parts as much
Yeah.
as others. The action overall amazing. All the fight scenes were great, and some of them even made me laugh. Um, I actually had the opposite. I actually enjoyed Conor McGregor in this because he didn't even really act in this. He just basically was himself in this, and that's why I think I enjoyed it so much because I know how Conor McGregor is, and so just to see
Yeah.
him just be himself in a movie, I thought was really good and really funny.
Yeah.
And I know this is where we both disagreed, where I actually didn't really like Billy Magnuson's character.
Yeah, sorry, I
Yeah,
forgot to mention that. I thoroughly enjoyed Billy Magnuson's
yeah,
unhinged
no.
level. Not the character, but the performance. You know what I mean? Like, I think the character sucks, but the performance of it, I thought he was having a blast. But yeah, go ahead.
I mean, no, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, he's a talented actor.
Yeah.
His acting wasn't the problem. It was just I feel
Yeah.
like you could have given this to anyone, and it probably would have served the same
I
purpose.
could see that. I could
Um,
see that take. Yeah, for sure. I'm not against that take. Yeah.
just like the same take you had with Conor McGregor. Like you could have given it to Statham, and it
Yeah, I thought
probably would have
perfect
even
role
done
for
better. That's what I
Statham.
mean.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
I
Billy
can see that
Magnuson. You
take.
could have given
Yeah.
it to anyone, and it would have been the
Oh yeah.
same.
Yeah, I don't disagree. Yeah.
But no, yeah, I again had a few gripes here and there with certain scenes and how they were done and stuff. But I think overall, the fight scenes and the comedy in it, I think, is what made it an enjoyable watch for me overall. I do get where you come at with not enough backstory on Jake Gyllenhaal's character. I can see where that can be a problem.
Yeah.
I almost didn't mind it, just having a mystery to this guy's character, to this
Yeah.
character. I think enjoyed it more, not having much backstory specifically for this kind of this kind of action movie and
Yeah.
how it was done and stuff.
Yeah.
And now opposite to Monkey Man, I I definitely enjoyed this one more than Roadhouse, because this one gave me, like, Monkey Man gave me more of like a
Yeah.
John Wick vibe, which is what I really like. Like
Yeah.
overall, the cinematography, the music, the acting, all of it was just phenomenally done from everyone. I really did like the backstory that was given in this movie. I just feel like some of the scenes could have been shorter.
Yeah.
This definitely could have had a shorter runtime, and it probably would have done gone better for my viewing
Yeah.
experience.
Agreed. Agreed.
I did also get to watch this in Dolby, so like the sound was even like better than just
Yeah.
watching it in regular theater. But yeah, I think, yeah, overall, if there wasn't as much backstory as there was, yeah, I think it would have definitely,
Yeah.
and some scenes being shorter than they actually were, I think it would have played better. But I mean, overall, I did enjoy. Dev Patel obviously carried. His acting is phenomenal. Just seeing him, like you said, directing and acting at the same time and delivering on both ends, and writing too, actually. Doing all that is just phenomenal from him. I can't wait to see what he directs next. I'm actually excited to see what his future holds for
Yeah.
him.
Yeah. For sure.
And I mean, I think I'm the same with you. I think I'm gonna give two different grades here for both movies.
I got different grades on each too. I do want to say for myself, I gotta say that if I was to give like notes to each director, my note for Doug Liman, as just the audience member that doesn't know shit, my note to him would be genuinely like, keep on your track, because I do like the type of movie that Roadhouse is, and I think that he's good with this type of movie. So stay on the track that you're on, but just hopefully take the note of just more, flesh it out just slightly more, and we'd be right there.
Right.
And to Dev Patel, my note to him is like, it's okay to get an editor. This movie, it's okay to get an editor and listen to the editor maybe a little bit more. If you got the right editor, they do know what they're talking about. And I do respect him for wanting to put a lot of his own culture into the film, and I think a lot of that it's good that it's there, but not a lot of that unfortunately worked. And for me, I wanted to be more invested in his culture and everything he was integrating into the film, and I couldn't be.
Well, according to IMDb, he's credited with editing. So He had three
I
different.
understand he had an
He had
editor.
three different editors. He
It
had three different
was
editors for this movie, actually.
I understand that. I that was me. I was hyperbole, but yeah,
Oh,
I
fair,
understand he had one. But yeah, I was being facetious. But yeah,
fair, fair.
but really like hone in and listen to those editors. And because sometimes like those pro editors, man, they'll get you to where you need to be. It's okay to chop scenes down. There's one scene, for example, without spoiling it, he's punching a punching bag, and it lasted 10 minutes long, and there's no reason for that. And just things like that, you know what I mean? It's like the scenes are good, but they're long. They're longer than they need to be each scene, and this is an hour 58 minute runtime, or 2 hours and 1 minute runtime. I think that could have been cut down to an hour and a half easily,
For sure.
and we would have been fine. It's just way too long, and sadly, just not the film. It was the film I was looking for, but just drawn out more than I would have liked. And I also found just a lot of the flashbacks and things to be a little choppy in the edit as well. So, but the editing in terms of the fight scenes and the action stuff, it's there. You know what I mean? He got that right.
Right.
Somehow he got that right, but not the storytelling as much. You need to edit that a little bit better. But I root for Dev. I think Dev's a very talented actor. Let me just throw
Yeah.
out
No,
his
for sure.
performance, and it's outstanding as it always is. It doesn't matter. I mean, he's kind of gotten this, sadly, a little bit of a bad rap lately, because he's done movies that people have unfortunately. Although this one's overall pretty positive for the most part. I mean, I think like between Green Knight, and this one, he's kind of he's gotten this rap of doing movies that are slower, and boring. But he's always great in them, and I want to see him succeed. Uh, I liked Green Knight personally. I prefer it over this one personally, but that's me. This one a little bit more again, because Green Knight felt like it was meant to be a slow burn, as opposed to this one felt just unnecessarily slow. You know what I mean? There's a
No, for
difference
sure.
between the two. But the guy's he's an outstanding actor, and it's cool to see him try to direct. And I'm glad that Jordan Peele's production company gave him the opportunity to do that, and will probably give him another opportunity to do it, considering I think that this movie's still going to be profitable. Like I said, the reviews overall have been pretty positive, and
Hmm.
so it's almost like, what do I know? You know what I mean? But I do hope that as a filmmaker, you do listen to notes from the people that don't like it, even though they may be few and far between. Maybe you can take some notes from them as well. So yeah, I do think his next one will be better. I also do want to give this film another watch too, and maybe I'll feel differently about
Mm-hmm.
it because it is so different from what I was expecting to get going in. I think that's part of what may have unfortunately tampered my experience with the film a little bit. I wasn't expecting it to be as expansive as it was in the storytelling and things, so maybe I think it might age better, just with time, and it could go down as one of those great action movies of all time, with more time, for it to age. So just throwing that out there. But I'll go ahead and grade both of these, and then we can move on. My grade for Roadhouse is going to be a don't watch. Sadly, it's just an experience I'm looking back on, and it's empty. It didn't fulfill my heart at all. Even though I can pinpoint certain scenes I really enjoyed, and Gyllenhaal was fantastic, and Doug Liman definitely proved he knows how to direct action. So that's good stuff. But unfortunately, it's an empty experience looking back. I'm going to give that one a don't watch. And Monkey Man, I'll still give it a might watch. I think in the thumbs up, thumbs down world, it's still positive, even if just barely for me. It's still just, crossed that line of being slightly positive. So I do enjoy it, and I do want to watch Monkey Man again as opposed to Roadhouse. I have no desire to go back and revisit it. Jose, what are you thinking on both of these for your grade?
Well, one thing I want to say before I give my grades
Sure.
is, from the action movies I've seen from this year, I think Beekeeper is the best one so far. It's what it's looking like. Levels above both of these. I think putting both of these together, Beekeeper still tops them. But yeah, so I'll give Roadhouse a don't watch as well. I don't think I'm
Okay.
upon thinking again, yes, it was cool fights and comedy in there, but there's just other, like, I'd rather just rewatch Beekeeper 6 times than watch Roadhouse
Fair enough.
again. Um, because like you said, it was a cool watch, but I feel like that's time there that I could spend doing other stuff.
Yeah, fair
It's not
enough.
one of those movies that I don't feel like my time was my time was used right.
You could put it on while cleaning the house. You won't miss a thing. You're good. Yeah.
Yeah, or if I'm working on something, I
Yeah.
can just put it, right
Background
next to
noise.
on
Yeah.
my other monitor, just have it there.
Yep.
And then for Monkey Man, I would definitely put it like on the mid to high end of my watch for
Okay.
sure because yes, I did prefer it to Roadhouse, specifically because there was more backstory in Monkey Man and the fight scenes were a lot they were shot a lot cooler, and is one that I do see myself revisiting a couple more times, because I feel like the more times I see it, I think the more it'll grow on me for sure.
Yeah. All right. Cool. All right, guys. Those are our thoughts on Monkey House, Monkey House and
Nice.
Roadman, Monkey
There you
Man
go.
and Roadhouse, and the comparisons between the two. I wanted to experiment with that. Maybe clip it out in one video and see what you guys think of something like that. If we can find two movies that we can put on a comparable scale, maybe we could do that in the future again. Anyway, I also thought it'd shorten the runtime of the show. We had a lot of reviews, so thought it'd save a little time for us. But let us know what you guys thought of that. Comment that below and what you think of both films if you'd seen them, for sure. So moving on, I do want to talk about one of the biggest stories that we have right now, which is a new trailer
Oh,
that dropped today, which we've got a
new
reaction
trailer.
out to.
Oh yeah, true.
Joker Foli did drop. It's a teaser trailer, but per se, even though I was plenty fulfilled by this thing, this is come into one of my most anticipated movies, like of all right now of all time for sure, because this is a movie where I've said this about the first Joker. I just felt like it was a perfect vision, perfect singular art piece from Todd Phillips, and I thought Joaquin obviously knocked the role out of the park, won his Oscar for it, right? So I didn't see a need for a second Joker. I just enjoyed where it ended, and I was a little skeptical about this one because of that. And this teaser, it gave me all the confidence in the world that a sequel can work. It feels like a natural continuation for the story, even though they're going with a slightly different take, but it's just the addition of Harley Quinn, and turning it into a musical again from what I think is going to be the unreliable narrator, the Joker, meeting a lot of this musical stuff. I think is going to be pretty much played out in his mind. I don't think that this is a musical like anything we're expecting, per se. I think it's going to be something completely new, unique, and different, and that's what the trailer showed for me. The shots look incredible again, just as much as they were in the first film, and I'm just super excited. Lady Gaga looks like she was cast perfectly. She's a good actress anyway. I mean, obviously, Star is Born, she blew me away in that film, but either way, this was perfect. This gave me all the confidence in the world. She's the perfect Harley, and yeah, I'm just very excited. But Jose, what'd you think of the Joker Folie à Deux trailer?
Honestly, blew me away. It's made it up there as one of my highly anticipated right now of the trailers that we've
Yeah,
gotten. Like you said, Lady Gaga perfectly cast to play this kind of this version of Harley Quinn. It only makes sense, it being a musical to get someone like Lady Gaga who
yeah,
sings and is a phenomenal actress, like you said. Um, I like how this is following, the narrative and the story from where we left off with Joker one. Um, something in that script brought Joaquin back, and I'm glad it did, and brought someone like Lady Gaga to play Harley Quinn. So I'm super excited. Like you
yeah.
said, the shots and these phenomenal. And I do honestly think this is gonna be a different take on a music. This is gonna be like a dark musical. It's not gonna be like your typical, In the Heights or any kind of musical like that. It's gonna be a completely
No,
different kind of musical, and I can't wait to see what it delivers. And I'm honestly just super excited to see what it brings for sure.
agreed, man. Agreed. I can't wait for it, and yeah. I second a lot of that. By the way, if I keep taking myself off the screen, it's because I'm trying to take care of my cold. I am paying attention to you, Jose, just so you
No, it's
know.
all good.
That's
Yeah, no,
that's
no, for sure.
I just want to clear that up really quick. So that's all I'm doing off screen. But yeah, I do want to talk about some other stories that we got going on. This one is obviously a major one as well. We do have casting for the Silver Surfer, and it's Julia Garner. And I am not surprised at all that they went with this take. I mean, the actress, yes, but not the fact that they're making Silver Surfer a woman. There were rumors about Anya Taylor-Joy possibly doing this a while back, so I wasn't really necessarily shocked like a lot of the world for some reason, even though Anya again was rumored for a long time here. But anyway,
And then Dune 2 took her.
that's correct. The new Fantastic Four movie made a fantastic addition to its cast. This comes from People magazine. Julia Gardner, the Emmy-winning Ozark star, has joined the Marvel Cinematic Universe project as a version of the Silver Surfer. People confirms. Deadline first reported the casting. A rep for Garner did not immediately respond to People's request for comment. The casting follows Marvel's February 14th reveal that the Fantastic Four reboot will feature Pedro Pascal as Reed Richards slash Mr. Fantastic, Vanessa Kirby as Sue Storm slash Invisible Woman, Evan Moss Bacharach as Ben Grimm the Thing, or slash the Thing, and Joseph Quinn as Johnny Storm, the Human Tech. Garner, 30, reportedly playing Shalabal, created by Stan Lee and Buscema. The character first appeared alongside the four astronauts turned superheroes in 1968 as the lover of Silver Surfer and Norrin Rad. Okay, so there we go. Okay, so it's a new take. Obviously, it's a different thing on the Silver Surfer character, and I do think that this does. Again, I've heard the rumors about this being a multiverse Silver Surfer. Personally, I think the whole damn movie takes place in a separate universe from what we from our MCU, just because it makes the most sense. If we had Fantastic Four in the Earth 616, we would have heard about them a long time ago, as opposed to just hearing about them now. So I do think that this is taking place in a whole other universe, to tie it ever so slightly more into the multiverse saga per se of the MCU. And I really am excited about the fact that we are getting something new for Silver Surfer. I have not seen all of Ozark, but what I've seen of Julia Garner's performance in Ozark is pretty fantastic. And I think that as long as you got the right actor, that's all you need, or actress per se. Jose, what do you think of Julia Garner playing Silver Surfer?
I mean, great choice. Obviously, would have liked Anya Taylor, but obviously, she's got
Yeah.
Dune to worry
Anya
about.
sounded cool.
Yeah. Well, Dune and Furiosa, actually.
Yeah.
She had those two, that she had to work on. But no, yeah, Julie Gardner, I mean, from what, the stuff that I've seen from her, she's a phenomenal actress. And I'm actually excited to see a female version of Silver Surfer. And it makes sense that she's playing this character, Shala Bal, which, as we just read, is the lover of the Silver Surfer. And in the comics, actually, I believe, too, even turned silver like the Silver Surfer at one point. And so it makes sense. Like you said, I do think this is going to be in a different universe. I actually just read that they were on Earth X, I think, which is a completely different Earth to the main MCU. So I do think this is going to take place, especially since we're in this multiverse saga right now.
Yeah.
I definitely do think this will take place in a different universe, and I'm excited to see what this Fantastic Four movie brings, especially after what we saw in the latest Fantastic Four movie with all them. Which of course the first Fantastic Four with Chris Evans and all them was phenomenal, and then we got the
phenomenal
2016. Yeah,
I
liked it.
That's a take.
I really liked it.
Okay. Go ahead.
Then you had the one that was worse.
Yes.
Come out was not good at all. I think I saw it once in theaters and never saw it ever again.
Yeah.
Whereas the one with Chris Evans, I've actually seen myself revisit a lot of times. So I do think that this one will top both of them. And I'm actually really excited to see what the trailer will bring. And what they deliver. I know they're all gonna. I mean, with the casting like that, where can you go wrong? If I'm being honest, I mean, it's a phenomenal casting, and I think they're just gonna deliver tenfold.
Yeah. And I've seen complaints about it, and my thing is like you have to be different. You have to be. The last Fantastic Four was a universal flop and failure, and despite some of the great talent we had in that film, it just unfortunately didn't work. Like I don't know a lot of people that enjoyed that movie from beginning to end. I can honestly say it has some good moments, but it's from beginning to end, it's not a very good movie. And then, despite Jose's opinion, which still baffled me, but like the original two were not received that well anyway. You know what I mean? So you have to do something different. You have to get this right. Kevin Feige loves Fantastic Four, so I do think everything he's doing about this is he's making the moves that are going to make it great. But there's that. So yeah, I'm hoping this is good. I think that this will turn out good. I don't think they can afford for this to really not be good. It's got to be good. Otherwise, you can't make Fantastic Four again if this one doesn't work. That's kind of how I
True.
feel, and because they're kind of at that point now where it's like, okay, they've tried it way too many times, and I just don't see it working. If this one doesn't do well, I don't see them
Hmm.
integrating these characters anymore. So there's that. So. Just wanted to throw that out there, and that's probably again though part of why they are separating it so much is because it's like, okay,
Yeah.
this doesn't work. We don't want to like feel obligated to use them because we connected it so much in the
Right.
first place, right? So anyway, sorry, that was my take on it, and I do think that I love this casting. I genuinely do. I love it because it's different, and I want to see it's different in this movie. That's why I love it. It's more so than just the actress is talented. Yeah. All right. Speaking of talented actresses, though, we do have another piece of casting news here. Love Lies Bleeding breakout Katie O'Brien joins the eighth Mission Impossible film.
Ooh.
Exclusive after vowing with her muscular turn in A24's Love Lies Bleeding. Was it really her muscular turn, though? She's always kind of been. Never mind. Katie O'Brien has joined the
True.
cast of the eighth Mission Impossible for Paramount Pictures and Skydance. Sources tell Deadline details as to the plot of the latest spy actioner in the series remain under wraps, as does her role, but it follows up Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning, which grossed over 567 million worldwide last summer and launched a pair of Oscar nominations for Best Sound and Visual Effects. A couple little comments I want to make here. First of all, changing the title for this is stupid. Just stick with Dead Reckoning Part 2. I have a
Are they thinking about? Wait, have they changed the name, or are they thinking about it?
They're thinking about changing the name because my
Oh,
Blu-ray case says Dead Reckoning Part 1. You know how inconsistent that's going to look, when this new
true.
one comes out. Anyway, I wouldn't mind it if they just didn't call it Dead Reckoning Part 1, but they already got it. It's history, it's on the Blu-ray. You can't change it now, you know what I mean? It's in the opening crawl or opening title sequence. So I just think it's stupid to change it. Just yeah. The only reason the last one didn't do as well is because you sandwiched it between other blockbusters. It's nothing to do with the title. I want to tell them that right now. It's an amazing movie. That last Mission Impossible, incredible. Anyway, as far as the casting goes, the reason we're here, I didn't, me, I didn't enjoy Love Lies Bleeding, but I did think her performance was stellar. Katie O'Brien's. I think she's a very good actress, and even in Mandalorian, even though her episode, the one in season 3, seems kind of useless now, it's
Mm.
nothing to do with her performance. She plays the role very, very well, and I would really like to see her continue. She's great as Elia Kane in Mandalorian, so I would like to see her continue to play that type of role. My guess is she's a villain. That's my initial instinct when I hear this. Obviously, we don't know anything about the role, but what do you think of the casting, Jose?
No, I think it's great casting. I had a fairly good time with that movie. Great English. I just spoke there. Um, and
We all struggle.
yeah, no, no, like my gripes of the movie wasn't the acting. Like uh, Kristen Stewart and Katie O'Brien did phenomenally together in their acting,
Yeah,
and so yeah, I do think good a good choice because I feel like you said, her as a villain would just make the most sense, because she just has that kind of like persona to her when you look at her. I feel like that's going to be the perfect role for her, even
yeah,
though obviously nothing's been said about her role. I think that that'll probably fit best for her in that kind of movie,
yeah.
for sure.
I mean, and to put her in like this kind of action movie, I think is really awesome
Yeah.
because, like, yes, she has slight action in both Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, and Mandalorian, but it's very, and you could even argue Love Lies Bleeding, but it's very not, it's not extensive. I want to see her in a very extensive action role. You know what I mean? And if she's
Right.
a villain, again, not the third episode of season 3, but I think it's the 5th episode where they bring her back again, and she's just like so villainous in it. In this one scene, I can remember, and I'm like, damn, she really gets under your skin in this moment. And so I think she's a really, really talented and exciting actress right now. Honestly, like I genuinely do think that she's an exciting talent to have right now. I think that her personality is very unique in a very cool way. Just seeing her in interviews, I really do. As a person, I really like her. I think that she really works for that. I'm glad that Tom Cruise clearly saw that, because nobody gets into these things without talking to Tom first, and
Right.
if she's going to be a major part moving forward, I think that's pretty cool. So I'm personally very, very excited about this casting. I think it just, yeah, it's awesome. I really like it.
For
So
sure.
can't complain at all about that. I just want to see the story. I want to see if it is in fact going to be Dead Reckoning Part 2. Doesn't sound like they are going to go with that anymore, which again, just stupid. But that's that's a different thing.
Yeah, if they didn't want to,
Um,
if they wanted to change the title, they should have just called it Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning, and then just left it at that, and not call it
yeah,
Part One.
it just seems like a studio. I could see the studio's hands getting in on it, and just seems like so impulsive because the last one didn't do as well, and just sounds like a dumb move. But yeah, Anyway, we do have one more story that's kind of came as a surprise this week, but very fascinating anyway. Drew Barrymore confirms Adam Sandler is working on a Happy Gilmore sequel, which I'll add a little bit to that too. Drew Barrymore has revealed that Adam Sandler has a screenplay ready for Happy Gilmore 2. This is coming from Complex. On one of the latest episodes of the Drew Barrymore show, the actress announced that Sandler has written a screenplay for the sequel to the 1996 film. Excuse me, according to Barrymore, she had sent a video to Sandler of herself watching Billy Madison with her daughter, and that led to conversations about Happy Gilmore 2. I want it, I need it, and I stayed up last night with my daughter watching Billy Madison, Barrymore said in the video. And I sent Sandler a video of that, and then he sent me another video back, and I'm wanting to see if he's confirming about the Happy Gilmore 2 script. Barrymore then gestured to her phone to confirm that the movie was in fact happening. This just in, I have breaking news. I'll just say this from my source, that it is in process, she said. She added, there is a process, and that process is in process. There's her excited about Happy Gilmore 2 being confirmed. And a couple other things that have happened since the story kind of dropped is, oh gosh, oh God, Shooter McGavin, the actor that plays him, Chris something, he also confirmed recently that this is in fact happening. And I did see that Adam Sandler jumped on the Dan Patrick show and also
Yeah, I did
verified
see that. Yeah,
it. He verified it's
Christopher
happening.
McDonald.
Christopher McDonald, thank you. And Sandler has also jumped on the Dan Patrick show to confirm that this is actually
I saw.
happening.
I saw there was a video about that. Yeah.
Yeah, and so Happy Gilmore is another one of these movies that I always kind of was like, yeah, it just works on its own. But I gotta say, all these years later, it does sound like it's kind of right to try to do another one. Like at this point in time, like I think it is one of those Sandler movies that people look back to. It's one of his funniest and best, and it does seem like a good time to try it again. And it's a good character for him to revisit. I do think that a lot of the qualities of his future characters in comedy had come from Happy Gilmore, but I always think there's just something so unique about the Happy Gilmore character still. Like, there was something he was playing, he played it just slightly different than his other characters, enough so that it made the Happy Gilmore character feel very unique onto itself, and this could be its own franchise onto itself, I feel. And if this movie's good, it will become that. And I did hear Sandler talking on the Dan Patrick Show, and I liked what he said. He was pretty much like, we're trying to figure out a reason for people to watch this, and then that gives me a little bit of confidence. In other words, we're not half-assing this one, like a lot of our other Netflix projects. Like, we want this one to be special, and so I really enjoyed those comments, and it gives me a little bit of confidence here. Yeah, I'm up for another Happy Gilmore. I don't know about you. What do you think?
No, definitely. I mean, like Happy Gilmore is one of those that one of those movies from specifically from I remember when I was a kid, I used to watch so many Adam Sandler films, and I think I honestly, off the top of my head, can't think of a Adam Sandler movie that I don't like.
I could think
He's one
about
of
it eight,
those that
but yeah,
fair.
sorry. Go
But
ahead.
of the ones I've seen, I've revisited every single one of them so many times throughout my life because he's just so funny in his movies. I love his comedy. I love the way that he just embodies his role so well, especially in Happy Gilmore. Like you said, it's just so different to his other characters that he's played comedic wise that it just it hits different. And I do think I'm excited for Happy Gilmore 2. I think it's about time that we get a sequel to this, and it's going to be fun and interesting to see him reprise this role and see what he does differently or the same. It'll be really cool.
Yeah.
And I honestly just can't wait to see, what we get from it.
Yeah, man, I couldn't have said that better myself. And Sandler definitely thanks you for being his only Sandy Wexler fan. So that must be awesome. Anyway, the thing that I would also add to this is like, obviously Shooter McGavin is coming back, and like that is one of the best comedy villains like I can think of to like bring into a film. Like I think Christopher McDonald's performance as Shooter, it's good. Like he's not one of these like majorly prolific actors, but the character of Shooter McGavin is like, it's iconic. Like, you think of Shooter McGavin, like most people know the name Shooter McGavin. It's almost become household, which is kind of crazy for such like, again, just a villain in such a small comedy. You know what I mean? Which is really fascinating. And I really enjoyed, like how they did the golf sequences in that movie too. Like, just it all feels very practical, for the most part. Like all the even those like some of the things that happen in the movie are a little outrageous. It's not like kooky CGI like we'll see in outrageous comedies of Sandler's now. Like it all felt very practical. I hope they go back to that and keep that. And I hope they shoot this like with the sense of rawness that the first one had as well. I just really enjoy that. And also, I mean, the sadness is obviously, I heard Sandler kind of go over this too. We've lost Bob Barker. He would have been cool to bring back, but Bob Barker has passed since the first one. And then even just recently, allowing
Carl
Carl
Weathers.
Weathers, to be a
Yeah,
part of it again. He's just passed, even though they kind of got lucky on that one because the character died in the first movie anyway. So they're kind of like, okay, they
fair.
kind of got off the hook on that one, I guess, in a little bit of way, but still would have been cool to see him play some type of role, whether it be a flashback or whatever. Would have been kind of neat to include him in that way. And then recently, Joe Flaherty, just passed away. Who was iconic for saying the word jackass in that movie about 100 times, and like, yeah, it's kind of crazy to think about all the challenges that they face with those things, because those are obviously iconic characters you'd want to see back in a Happy Gilmore sequel. I do think we need to see the Ben Affleck character, not Ben Affleck, Jesus, what did I say? The Ben Stiller character come back to this. The Ben Stiller character needs to be back in the movie, I think, for sure. They need to find a really nice role for him to play. So I think that would be ever so hilarious, even though the one thing I did like about Hubie Halloween is that Ben Stiller came back to reprise that role in that movie. That was maybe the one thing I liked about Hubie Halloween. The rest of it was pretty shitty. But as far as, Yeah, no, but as far as the overall story goes, that's going to be my main concern, because you can't just do the same story again, and like, you really can't. There's a lot of logic issues if you go back and do the same kind of story again. I don't even want to see them try to do like, oh, it's a different golfer that Happy Gilmore now has to train. He's passing on the knowledge of Carl Weathers to a new golfer. I don't want to see that either, because then to me, you are pretty much just doing the same story all over again with a new golfer. I want to see where Happy Gilmore is now in his life. Is he still a man child, or has he grown up a little bit? Who's to say? But I think that that's what we're coming to see. We want to see Happy, continue his own self-destruction, and also destruction to others, in an even older presence, and just be, as chaotic as he was in that first film. That's what we're coming to see, but also not lose that little bit of heart that character had, which is always, again, what I found so unique about it, is just like, he was such a self-destructive and destructive to others type of man, but he always had this heart. The man loved his grandma, so what can you do? So you really just fell in love with the character because of those reasons. I just hope it doesn't lose any of that. I'm a pretty big Happy Gilmore fan. Can you guys tell? Like, I really want this to work out. Oh, and bring back the intro. Make Tuesday's Gone the intro music again, because that was so awesome. And bring one of those back. Make that their opening crawl for the Happy Gilmore franchise. You know what I mean? And keep that. I think that would be really neat. I hope Sandler watches this podcast. Anyway, so those are my thoughts. I don't know how many people are going to agree. I'm sure a lot of people are just against this because it is such a classic. But I do think that the timing is right. I think it is the right time to bring this character back and try it out. If it doesn't work, you got the original. You know what I mean? Try it. Let's see. That's all I say.
Right.
You got the original classic if it doesn't work. So give it a shot. All right. Awesome. Well, let's keep moving on. We're going to move into our final segment of the day.
Wait, question.
Yes.
Did you still want me? Because there was that other movie that I watched. I don't know if you wanted me to review
What
that
movie
one or
did you
not.
watch? Oh, Cabrini?
No, In the Land
Or
of Saint and Sinners.
Femi? Oh, in the Land of Satan Sinners? No, we were saving that one till next week because we had too many.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
no.
Okay.
Good,
No, that's
good question.
cool.
But
Alright,
that
cool.
was one I wanted to
Yeah.
carry over
Okay.
to next week because, I
Alright.
wanted to try
That's
to
fair.
limit them to 4
And that's
every
all
week.
good.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, that's cool.
Yep. All right. Awesome. So let's move on to our final segment of the day. Sup with Star Wars. Yeah, there we go. We tried to do it at the same time, folks. It just didn't work. But we do have actually quite a bit going on with Star Wars. Maybe not as much as some other weeks, but still a lot of other fun stuff. And I've been saying this for a while, Jose. This year for Star Wars has been so much more massive than I think any of us were really anticipating. We've got a lot of drops of different projects. Let's just start from the beginning. We've had the Dark Forces remaster. We got the Battlefront 2 one, which didn't go so well, but all right. Bad Batch has just been phenomenal though. Acolyte, to me, in my estimation, looks like it's going to be pretty damn good. And one of the other things that we've been anticipating is the release of the Star Wars Outlaws game. We had no idea when it was coming out, but we did. Not only did we get a release date, we got an actual story trailer today, which I wanted to go over with you. I think that this is ever so exciting. And
Oh yeah, for sure.
let me just say, I mean, the graphics look great. I'm excited. It made me more excited for the storyline. It takes place between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, so I thoroughly enjoy that. It is a canonical story with the rest of Star Wars as well, so that's really neat. I do enjoy the bounty hunting and the underworld of this, and all that just looked really good. I had a little bit of critique on the voice acting. I didn't think it was as strong as what we see in some of the Jedi Fallen Order, Jedi Survivor stuff, you know what I mean? But maybe it's better in context. I think I need to see a lot of this in context too, so it's nothing against the voice actors that worked hard on this, because it's a trailer at the end of the day, and we don't have the full picture of what's going on. And I do hope that this is
just story, so it's not like gameplay or anything like that. So yeah.
Of course, and I do hope that this character is somebody I fall in love with as much as I did Cal Kestis in the Fallen Order
Mm.
game when we first were introduced to him. And uh, the fact that it's a bounty hunter, the fact that it's Ubisoft and it's going to be something different from what EA has been doing with the Star Wars games excites me so much. I love the open world of it. That seems so exciting. The fact that Jabba the Hutt made an appearance in this is pretty cool. So yeah, it's just to me this has a lot of things going for it. Again, I think that it seems like a very simple bounty hunting story, and I'm okay with that. I think that this is definitely going to be a more gameplay focused single player, and less
And it's
cutscene.
crazy too that it's going to be, yeah, and for this to be the first open world title
Yeah,
game for Star Wars, I think is going to be really interesting. I'm actually, super excited to finally get to
yeah,
play a Star Wars open world game, first one ever. Um, it and the fact that it's single player could be cool. It might have been interesting to maybe have an option where you can play with other people as bounty
yeah,
hunters, but I'm not gonna not play it because of that. I still think that it's just gonna be an amazing game
yeah.
as single player in an open world, and I'm honestly just excited to play it and see what it brings. Honestly,
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. That's the first open world title because it is a real
yeah.
test, to see if we can
Hmm.
continue to get these. Because, in a way, it's going to be breaking new ground. I mean, it's been, it's in terms of the canon stuff. This is the first open world
Right.
title, for damn sure, and it is going to be a test of can this work? Can we keep doing this? I think that this is the type of game we want. And then can we do the other thing would be like, can we do an open world project with the Jedi now? You know what I mean?
Hmm.
If we did it with a bounty hunter, can we get something with the Jedi? Is this a series that's going to continue to go? Are we going to get Outlaws 2 at some point? So many questions on my mind. Again, I think it all kind of comes down to you need to make this character needs to be good. Like Cal Kestis was. People need to fall in love with the character the way they did with Cal Kestis in the Fallen Order series. So, excuse me. So I did thoroughly enjoy this for the most part because I enjoy. I think that a lot of the vibes I was getting off this too. It's a little bit more what I was hoping for the Book of Boba Fett series too.
Hmm.
So I'm really happy with that. And from a story perspective on this. So I do hope that it is a lot more expansive with the underworld take
I mean, yeah, I did, and I did read an article saying that the planets that are gonna be in this game, one planet is equivalent to two zones in Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
yeah. So it's gonna be
Like the
yeah,
planets are gonna be huge, and that's just one planet.
yeah,
Who knows how many planets are gonna be in this game?
yeah,
But it's just gonna be a super huge open world game to explore. So much to
yeah,
explore, so much to do.
yeah,
And I just honestly can't wait to see. Yeah, and honestly, like I agree with what you said about the vibe of it. What I was hoping and expecting for Book of Boba Fett.
yeah,
So I'm glad that I get to play that myself and
yeah,
experience it myself. Firsthand. And the fact that it's set between Empire and Return is awesome. I like that it's set then because that's really like when the bounty hunters were
yeah,
like really profiting in Star Wars canon. And so
yeah.
it's honestly gonna be really cool to explore all the characters in the game, specifically the one that you get to play as.
Yeah, I enjoy like in terms of what they did show of the gameplay in this, which was just
Hmm.
very little.
Same.
But there was a
Yeah.
part where she was on the speeder bike and that sandworm popped up. I was like, that's so neat. That's such cool detail.
Yeah, honestly, it gave me Dune vibes straight away.
Yeah, I just hope those damn things don't become annoying as hell. You know what I mean? Like every time I'm trying to ride a speeder on the sand, I have to run into one of those. Like put them in the game, but not to the
You,
annoying
th- you think
degree.
you think as I say, you think those would be annoying? Just imagine the ones in the actual Dune game that's coming out. I bet you those are
Yeah,
just going to be
right.
super annoying to
Yeah,
deal
no, for
with.
sure. Yeah, but that was like super neat in
I,
this,
re-
and
I, I, I also really like the little companion that you get with you. I thought that was really really cute
Yeah,
addition
yeah,
for
that's a
the
nice
main
little addition.
character.
Yeah, they seem
Hmm.
to like to do that in Star Wars. Like, it can't just be the main character; it needs to
You know,
have a
Cal Kestis
companion.
with BD1,
Yeah,
this one with the little companion. Yeah, for sure.
but even 3PO needed R2, right? And that's the first real image you
True.
saw of characters in any Star Wars thing ever. So it's like, I could see where the inspiration comes from. And so don't get me wrong.
Even Han needed Chewbacca. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, for sure. It's that, Luke needed Obi-Wan, at least toward the beginning, so he
Exactly.
always needs, the companions are, they're nothing new to Star Wars. And it is that,
No, definitely not.
it's inspired by the Hidden Fortress film, from Akira Kurosawa that George
Even George,
loves so much.
even
So
George, even George needed his dog as a companion when he was riding in his car.
yeah, no, for sure. And then he got Dave Filoni. So yeah,
Hey,
the
hey, look, his companion is his cowboy hat. He never goes
it's
and
true.
he showers with that thing.
It's true. No, 100%. No, I agree with that, full on. But yeah, guys, it looks exciting. I do want to know what the rest of you guys think of this trailer. I think it's new. I like that it's new. It's not another Jedi game. It's something new. It's not
Yeah,
another fighter
yeah.
squadron
Honestly,
game. It's
I was gonna say that was the other thing I wanted to touch on is I'm happy that we finally get a game that is centered around guns and doesn't heavily focus on lightsabers.
yeah,
Um, so to finally just get a Star Wars game focused on guns and probably grenades and stuff like that, and not heavily focused on lightsaber. Like, don't get me wrong, lightsaber fighting is a lot of fun, but we already got that with Survivor and Fallen Order,
yeah,
and you could play a lot of that in the Battlefront games too, even though that one's a mix of guns and lightsabers.
yeah,
I'm happy we're just gonna get a game fully centered and focused on just guns.
yeah.
I thought I think it's really cool, and the fact that it's centered around bounty hunters as well, because we haven't really had any kind of game really fully focused on bounty hunters, mostly just Jedi's and Siths and stuff. So yeah, I'm honestly glad that we finally get something like that.
For sure, for
And like
sure.
you said, fresh and new, and yeah, I love it right now for Star Wars.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, and I do want you to, if you could, for me, do me a favor and look up a story for me really quick. And I
Yeah,
was going to
for
have
sure.
you read this one off because I have to run and take care of something really quick.
Yeah, sure.
Um,
And which one is it?
it's Daisy Ridley just had a recent interview and made some comments about. It's on all the major trades. She made some comments about the new film coming up.
Oh, her new one or
Yeah, the new sorry,
okay.
the Ray movie. She made some comments about the Ray movie.
Okay,
So if you
I
want,
got one here from Empire.
perfect.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead and read that really
All right.
quick. I'll be right back.
All right.
I've read the article already, so I know the
Okay.
details. But read it off, and then
All right.
if I'm not back yet, just go ahead and get into your thoughts and everything. I'll
Okay.
be right
All
back.
right.
Yep.
All right. Yeah, guys. So, like Dom said, I got the tea here from Empire. It says here that Daisy Ridley is ready to return as Rey in Star Wars. I feel more like I'm owning it. Exclusive. 1 year ago at Star Wars Celebration, the news was confirmed. Daisy Ridley will officially be coming back to the galaxy far, far away, reprising the role of Rey in a film set 15 odd years after Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker, in which her hero will be establishing a new Jedi Order. I think we all knew that was happening. In the intervening 12 months, the project has remained in its early stages, but Ridley herself has been awaiting her return to Star Wars, all while working on acclaimed smaller films like Sometimes I Think About Dying, which Dom reviewed, if you want to check that out, and Young Women in the Sea. Among it all, she's feeling positive about what her Star Wars future holds. As she tells Empire in a major new career spanning interview available in the upcoming Immaculate issue, this time she's coming in a bit more eyes wide open to the whole experience. I suppose I feel more like I'm owning it. I suppose I owned it the first time. Basically, I'm an adult now, she explains. I certainly did not feel like an adult at the time. Obviously, personally, things have changed. And professionally, I've had lots of other experiences, and so I definitely feel like it's a different thing this time. Even after 3 films and a considerable amount of online discourse, Ridley still holds real affection for the world of Star Wars. There's just a lot of joy with me in these films, she says. Honestly, if I wasn't excited, I wouldn't have done it. It feels like a great thing to be a part of. For now, she knows the story beats for what the new film will be, and at the time of the interview was preparing to read a script and feeling curious about it all. Whatever's in store, it ultimately provided a strong basis for Ridley's and Ray's return. It wasn't a difficult decision, she says. I didn't say yes right away. Kathy, Kennedy, was like, take as long as you need. Not that it took that long to say yes. Why wouldn't I do it? Yes, they have been divisive, but also they bring a lot of love and joy to a lot of people. It feels pretty amazing to be able to continue a character. Like, can I even remember how to play her? It's an interesting challenge as an actor to come back to something and try to figure out what's changed for me and what's changed for her. All in all in days work for a Jedi.
All right, so cool, a very good reading of that from what I heard. So, thank you for taking care of that. I had a
Honestly, yeah,
issue to.
interesting article for
Yeah,
sure.
no, I did find it fascinating. Now, I'll start with the obvious thing, which is, actress says great thing about her project coming up. It's like nothing new there. So there's that. But that's
Unless
the
you're Dakota Johnson with Madam Web.
yeah.
Just kidding.
Yeah, that's yeah. You got to be a new level of bad to get there, but uh, to be allocated to do that and still work. But anyway, the I will say I do like a lot of her comments here. She's not just saying on the surface say this movie's great. It actually sounds like from her comments she has no idea if it's great or not. She hasn't seen it, or it sounds like she's read a take on it, but not
Hmm.
really. She knows the take and the direction, but not necessarily the full fleshed out ordeal. And as secretive as they are in Lucasfilm,
Right.
that's that is what it is. So that to me, I look at this and I'm like, okay, this just sounds like she's just entering it with a new level of confidence. And to
Right.
be fair, a lot of the criticisms of the sequel trilogy have not had to do with her performance anyway, you know what I mean? So the
Hmm.
fact that if she can come in to this with a whole new level of confidence, it's only going to be a bonus, for her performance. Her
Right.
performance will be just as good, but better. You know what I mean? It's like she's still a good
Right.
actress, but it's going to be even better. And I spoke of her little indie project, that she just did. Sometimes I think about dying, and I know
Which I did
she's.
tell people to check out your reaction if they haven't yet.
Oh, thank you. And I also, I know she's got a couple of other smaller ones that she did. A Young Woman in the Sea is coming up here at some
Yeah.
point, and also Magpie, which she was a producer on. So very interested to see all
And she
that.
just
And
apparently she shot two other films too,
yeah,
Cleaner and We Bury the Dead. Yeah.
yeah, and I'm interested to
So,
see a newly formed Ray and older Ray. I think that she can play a much older Ray now and actually make it feel like a distinction between the younger and the older Ray because of her experience on these smaller projects and her newfound confidence in this, and just she does sound like ready to go. You know what I mean? And I hope that part of that is due to whatever take they're going with on this, and then the other part of it again is just like she said, a sense of ownership a little bit, and I like that too because so I'll dive into this just briefly because I remember she would do like more candid interviews with Josh Horowitz back in the day. I know her and Josh Horowitz are really good friends, and she used to do his Happy Sad Confused podcast, and I remember even the one specifically before Rise of Skywalker came out, and Josh was kind of addressing the controversy that was already there with Last Jedi without addressing it. And he asked her very, professionally, like how does it feel, on this set as opposed to the one prior, rather than saying do you think this one's going to be divisive or not? Anyway, and I remember this was prior to Rise of Skywalker coming out. She had said, it feels really good. It feels right. It feels like everything we're doing is right, when maybe if she had known and had more experience, maybe the answer, I mean, she may have answered still nicely about it, but I think that somebody more experienced would be able to really get those red flags when a production's kind of going wrong. And look, a lot went wrong with Rise of Skywalker. You could watch the movie, you can love the movie, you can't tell me it's not messy or choppy. And it has issues, and I think a more experienced actress will be able to recognize those, and if she feels more of a sense of ownership, hopefully call some of those things out, as they're coming on. And again, that's nothing to do with her performance in Rise of Skywalker. I'd argue it's her best performance of Rey to date. Daisy just
right.
continued to get better throughout that entire trilogy. But my point is there was another video, for example, where it was a little bit of a behind the scenes look of Ahsoka that came out. And look at Hayden, for example, right? Now Hayden's a different thing because some of his performances in Star Wars were bad prior, at least in my opinion, but and highly criticized. But you saw this video where Hayden was almost telling Dave on Ahsoka, what he feels would be best for the character and best for the direction of the
Right.
story, even a little bit. And if Daisy can bring a little bit of that, you know what I mean? It could be
Right.
helpful. That's all I'm saying. And she's not the director, of course, and she's going to, be of service to the filmmaker at the end of the day. But I do think her input is going to be, she does feel this new sense of ownership. And also because she knows the right character so well at this point, she knows what's right for that
Right.
character, knows what's wrong for her, and she's coming into it with a new set of cojones, on her as an actress to speak up
Right.
when something feels wrong or recognize even when something feels off. You know, it could be helpful. Could be helpful to the overall production of the film. But anyway, Jose, I wanted to hear your take on this.
No. Well, obviously, I'm excited to see what this this movie
Yeah,
currently titled New Jedi Order is going to bring, especially for Rey's character. And I'll just say Daisy Ridley did an amazing job, bringing this character to life on screen. As much as some of those movies I didn't particularly like,
yeah,
specifically Rise of Skywalker, but that's just more of, I think, writing and stuff like that versus the actual actors themselves. Um, I'm honestly excited. I'm glad that she's back, reprising a role as Rey in this movie. Um, can't wait to see what it brings, in terms of her, saying that she's glad to be back. If she could have said no if she wanted to, but she, said yes because, if she didn't want to do it, then she wouldn't. But, it
yeah.
looks like this is something that she loves so much. She loves, bringing joy to people's faces, playing this role. And that she wants, to come back and do this again. And I'm happy to see that, she loves Star Wars so much that she wants to, continue doing this. So
Hmm.
I'm just excited for her and to see what the directors and the whole team bring to this movie. Whoever else gets casted in this movie, see what they bring alongside Daisy Ridley and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm just really excited and can't wait to see what this new movie brings for us. Honestly,
Yeah, and it really does feel like a little bit of the Rocky 2 rematch in a way, like it's like, she wants to step back up and prove she can win.
right,
Now, and again, her performance is good, but the character receives so many criticisms that it's almost like I don't know that she would come back if the character wasn't right and she didn't feel like it was actually right this time around. You know what I mean?
right,
And actually correct and all that. So I do think that this will be exciting. I'm excited to see her try it again in a new light and
right.
a new take from somebody completely different. And I think that'll be interesting, especially the other thing that excites me even more about it, which we haven't really mentioned, but Filoni's promotion. You know what I mean? He's going to see these projects from their
Mm,
inception now, and this is no exception to that. Because
right,
he is going to have input now. He is the head of creative officially now. And this has to line up with whatever he's doing too. Otherwise,
right,
they just don't do it. And I think that it's got to play into the overall grand plan of what the new vision of Star Wars is going to be,
right,
given Filoni's new position and promotion and all that, and
right.
he's going to bring Favreau into the fold too, to try to give his input as well. So I think that because those two guys have mapped out a vision of where they want Star Wars to go, this just makes it even more exciting to me. I do think that
For
they
sure.
will have more involvement on this one than they did with a trilogy we just don't talk about. But so and it doesn't matter if it's them or Tony Gilroy or whoever, just somebody who has a vision needs to be involved, and somebody who has a
For sure.
plan. To me, again, Filoni's the best guy to do that, but there's that. But speaking of Dave Filoni, really quick before we do our Bad Batch spoiler talk, I do want to mention my fun weekend I'm going to have. So I am going to meet Natasha Lou Bordizzo, Sabine Wren herself. So I'm very excited to do that this weekend and get to meet her, and I'll come back and tell you all about my experience with that. So it's going to be very, very exciting. But yeah, just wanted to throw that out there. And moving forward, we'll get the envious look off Jose's face, and he'll talk about something that maybe puts a smile on it instead, and that is the Bad Batch. So the Bad Batch has released 2 new episodes that we haven't had a chance to go over yet, which are episodes 10 and 11. Coming off that Asajj Ventress one, they had big shoes to fill. So I'll just get right into my thoughts, man. These episodes were just as amazing, and they did continue the story in a very natural way and with a very natural pace. And I like the way the 2 episodes tied into each other very well. Every episode of the season has been a banger. Episode 11 in particular, there was a part in there that made me audibly gasp. And we'll talk about that since we could talk spoilers now.
I think it might be the same. I think I might have the same. I might have had the same
Yeah.
reaction for that scene if it's the one I'm thinking about.
So, really quick overall non-spoiler thoughts, Jose. We'll go into the spoilers on these episodes.
Non spoiler for 10 and 11.
Mhm.
No, yeah, like you said, they had big shoes to fill, but they were equally as good. I'm telling you right now, literally no complaints for this season so far. Every single episode has just been
Yeah.
amazing. There's not one episode that carries another. There's
Yeah.
no episode that stands out over the other. They just all are amazing. And I like how every single time they've released 2 episodes in 1 week, they have both just like been continuations of the previous episode.
Yeah.
Like with infiltration and extraction, which was 6 and 7. 7 followed 6, literally followed the story straight away, and that's what I liked about 10 and 11. It did the same thing, and that's what I like that they've kept that for all the weeks that we've had 2 episodes in one day.
Agreed.
Yeah, man. I mean, the story that was told in 10 and 11 from beginning to end was just flawless, no mistakes, no drag, no parts where I felt like it was dragging along or it was just too long or whatever. It was just perfectly done. Amazing, voice acting and just the characters. They all just
Sorry.
did amazing. And yeah, man, I just was in awe, like from beginning to end with both 10 and 11.
Yeah.
Watching 10, seeing the ending just made me want to get right straight into 11. And yeah, man, they were just both incredible. Shots were great. The animation, obviously, throughout this entire season has been amazing. I think honestly the best Star Wars season of any show that we've had so far for Star Wars in Disney, for sure.
Okay. I still
think,
say
man, this has
Andor
been
season 1,
amazing.
but yeah, I think that this is a close second for me.
I think
It's
these
on
two,
that quality.
I think, yeah, I think for me, Andor and this one, like right on par together,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. Andor season 1 the best, but this one again, and it's hard for me to say because this one's not over yet, so I want to see how the season ends, obviously. But
And it's also,
it's-
one's live action, one's
Yeah.
animated, so it's like 2 different. Like this is the best animated
Yeah.
season that we've gotten,
Yeah.
and Andor is the best live action season we've gotten. Like they're both like right there
Yeah,
for me.
but depending on this finale, this can easily top Andor for me. So I don't want to take that away because like I do need to see the finale of this season.
We do have we still have four episodes left, so
Yeah. So so I do need to see the ending of the season to fully judge it. But yeah, this has been a perfect season of television so far. It really has been, and the writing is so great. I mean, we're talking about episode 10. It's a full-on character study. So really enjoyed all that. I do think Omega's gonna
specifically for Emery, yeah.
save Emery, yes, and that's something that we're leading to, especially with the way 11 went, and I was like, okay, my theory was correct from the very beginning of this, that she is going to go back and save Emery one way or the other. Because with 11, I mean, that thing was just all suspense, and 11's really where you start to feel this is building toward an end, for this entire
The end
show.
game.
Yeah, it is the end game of this show, and it's very well planned out, and I just I think the other great thing about this season is I think it's elevated its prior 2 seasons, in such a big way because
For sure.
oh my gosh, I mean the character of Omega has really just made her way into my heart more than ever, and genuinely, with what happened at the end of this one, holy shit, Crosshair missing his shot is the thing that we're going to talk about because that is what made me audibly gasp.
No, same.
Holy cow, man. I was like, you gotta be kidding me right now.
A guy who normally never misses a shot misses his shot.
Oh man, and oh yeah, it was rough to watch. But I
I'll
don't
tell you
know
what
where
else.
it's going.
I'll tell you what else made my jaw drop was the last shot when she was inside of the ship and she just starts meditating. I'm like, oh
Yeah,
whoa, is she about to like use the force to just like get herself out of this situation? Like, is she finally tapped into the
we'll
force,
see.
or
I mean,
like,
I think
what
that
is she doing?
yeah, I do think she needs to get back to the base because again, I think she needs to get back to Mount Tantus because again, I do think she needs to save Emery. I think that they're going to make that happen. Tap into the Force, I don't know. I mean, it could be very similar to the scene in Dune when Paul and his mother use the voice. You know, like it could be that inspiration that they're bringing in
Yeah,
from the first Dune movie. Um, maybe Omega uses the Force on this thing. Who knows? I don't know.
these are not
It's
the droids you're looking for.
right. It's gonna be wild either way. I did speculate after episode 9. I was like, maybe Omega ends up in Rage Jedi Academy, in that movie. Like maybe that's one of her
She could.
students. Yeah, maybe that's what they're setting up
I
here.
won't lie to you. I wanna meet who voices Omega. I'm telling you right now. I just want to meet her so bad.
Michelle Ang, yeah.
Cause
Yeah.
yeah,
Her
Michelle
voice
Ang,
works
because she
awesome.
has. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And obviously Bradley's was it Bradley
D. Bradley
um
Baker. Yeah.
D Bradley Baker. I obviously want to meet him as well because man, what he's done with these characters, having voicing so many different characters and just doing phenomenally with
Yeah.
all of them is just it honestly hats down to you because you've just done an amazing job with
Yeah.
these characters.
Oh, Jimmy Simpson too, man, just continues to be great in his voice work as the villain, and
Oh
honestly,
yeah, Hemlock is
Hemlock's
oof.
awesome. He's become
Oh
one of
yeah.
my favorite Star Wars villains.
Oh for sure.
He's so good in the show, and I never.
He gives off like a scientific Thrawn almost
It's wild.
to me. Like
Yeah,
it's yeah, it's just it's amazing honestly.
he's so good. I mean, the scenes with
It's like I love
Emery.
to hate him.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? I just love to hate him. You know what I mean? It's just one
yeah,
of those like this with Star Wars villains. You just love to hate them, and
it's
I just
true.
love that I hate Hemlock
Right.
because it just goes to show how amazingly they've done with him.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Yeah, and the scenes with the children and Emery, I think, just added to the villainous aspect of him too, so much more. Like the fact that built up his villainous side a lot more. Him pretty much calling the children specimens and telling Emery not to make any more contact than need be.
hmm
And just you see how bad of an experience this is for these kids, and you're just like, oh my gosh, like this is incredible stuff though.
it almost honestly almost made me cry.
It
Just
was it
seeing
was
like
heartbreaking. Yeah,
how they treat these kids and
yeah.
oh my goodness, let's talk about seeing Cad Bane again.
Yes,
Whew,
Cad Bane be
that was so sick. Going
coming back.
and
Yep.
collecting that, collecting. Honestly, as soon as I heard the spurs from that boot, I was like, yes, we've got Cad Bane again.
I'd
Yes.
argue this is one of the best usages of Bane too, Cad
Oh,
Bane, because like
100%.
honestly, I think he's best when he's just subtle, and he was very
hmm
subtle here.
And just laid back and chill. Yeah.
Like they tried to make him like almost like the big bad in the Book of Boba Fett, and I just don't think that that's what that character is. I think he just works best when he's
And
a lot more subtle.
even in
Yeah,
season 2 when he was fighting Finnick Shan, I also, it was cool, but at
yeah,
the same time wasn't the best from him. I think, yeah, like you said, this is definitely the best usage of Cad Bane because it's just Cad Bane being Cad Bane,
yeah,
just his subtle, laid
yeah,
back, chilled,
yeah,
with the toothpick in his mouth,
yeah,
just collecting a bounty and sending it back
yeah.
to Hemlock and them over on Mount Tantus. Yeah, man,
I,
it was amazing
Yeah, I was truly getting the gunslinger vibe off him again that I did back in the Clone Wars, So this is the best usage
for
at
sure.
least since Clone Wars. So was very happy to see him. I mean, he is just the bounty hunter again, and that's it. And just leave it there is the way I look at it,
hmm
he is the hired gun. What he did in this seeing that they were using him to find these children, I thought was a really neat
hmm
way into this because it does line up with a lot of the stuff we've read in the comics about Cad Bane and all that type of thing, where he is so integrated into the rise of the Empire, which is it's neat. It's really neat to make that connection to it. But yeah, man. Really loved both episodes. They played into each other very well. Um, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
cutting us off just a little bit early here on this Bad Batch spoiler discussion, only because I realize there's one more thing we haven't talked about on the show.
Ooh. Okay.
There's a trailer that dropped, if you recall. Tales of
Ah.
the
Yep.
Empire. Yep. I can't
Which I
believe
have
we forgot
seen.
to bring that up.
Yep. I have seen that. Yep.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about the Tales of the Empire trailer really quick. Then we can get out of here. Um, yeah, I think this looks great. Getting more development on Morgan Elsbeth is going to be a lot of
Mm-hmm.
fun, and I think it's going to add more to the Ahsoka series. Just knowing more about her and how she got into the Empire in the first place, and how she integrated herself. I love the flashback to Corvus. Seeing we're going to see how she took over that planet, which is neat. The surprise of Tales of the Empire, first of all, because we had no idea. I mean, we knew we were getting a Tales of the Jedi season 2. We didn't know it was going to be called something else and all that. So
Mm-hmm.
the fact that it's Tales of the Empire is all the more fascinating. So
For
I
sure.
really enjoyed that. And then we also, on top of that, we're getting more development for Barriss Offee. I think the fact that, she is going to become Vader's apprentice,
An
therefore,
Inquisitor.
well, not an
Yeah. That
Inquisitor,
too. Yeah.
but also Vader's
But
apprentice, which is
Vader's
she's
apprentice.
now
Right.
therefore Anakin's apprentice, which adds this new level of irony to the whole thing because of the last time she saw Anakin, those two weren't getting along,
Yeah.
so
No.
I love that idea. I'm very excited for this. I do think we're gonna get like six, like the first one. That's my prediction. I think it'll be a 6 episode series, six shorts, maybe a little bit longer than the last one, but I think that again, as Tales of the Jedi showed us, you could do a lot with 6 shorts. They added so much development in those things. So yeah, I just want to talk about the trailer really quick, and what were your thoughts on it?
Yeah. So, like you said, a surprise. I thought we were gonna get a second season of Tales of the Jedi and it be about Jedi's.
Yeah,
uh, but
and
the
it
fact that
still
it's
is
gonna be
too, by
called
the way, which is kind of great. I mean, we're still getting Jedi stuff in it, So yeah. Anyway, sorry.
just
Go
more
ahead.
Sith,
Sith heavy.
Sith heavy. Yes,
Yeah.
which I'm loving that Star Wars is starting to go into this. I feel like we're going into this like Sith heavy era right now because we're getting Acolyte now, we're getting Tales of the
Yeah.
Empire. Like it just seems like we're going into, and I love it because this is what we've been asking Disney to do for, well, Star Wars in general, to do more, well, any kind of hits Sith heavy stuff,
Yeah.
and I'm glad that we're finally getting the answers. Like you said, it's gonna be cool to see Morgan Elsbeth's character more developed.
I agree.
Her with the Night Sisters and all that stuff. Seeing Thrawn in there is really cool. I really,
They're
I
on,
just love
right?
hearing that guy's voice.
Yeah.
Yep. Um,
It was definitely
I really
Lars
like
doing it
how.
too. So
Oh no,
yeah.
yeah, and the original actress for in the
Mor-
live action of
Morgan.
is the same one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
Morgan.
Diana Lee and Asanto. Yeah.
Yeah, her. Yep. I like how they're keeping that from the Ahsoka live action. They're doing that here. Um, Also cool that the planet and the building that was in Mandalorian season 2 when Ahsoka showed up and Morgan, they fought Morgan Elsbeth. I like how that
Yeah.
was put in this season in this trailer as
Agreed.
well. Um, Seeing Grievous was interesting. I thought that was also
Yes, I
pretty
agree.
interesting.
Effing Grievous, man. I think that's awesome, and I
Effing
can't wait
Grievous,
to
man.
watch Morgan fight him. I think that'll
Oh
be
yeah,
neat.
no, it's gonna be very neat.
Yeah,
Like you
she's
said,
got
Baron or Barris. Sorry, no, you go ahead.
she's well, she's got skill in combat. I mean, just judging by the
Oh
end
yeah,
of Ahsoka, you know what I mean. I'm interested to
mm-hmm.
see how she got to that point. For sure.
Yeah, for sure. Again, like you said, seeing Barris, her her developer story becoming a Sith,
Yeah,
and Vader's apprentice is gonna be being trained for looks like a bit by the Grand Inquisitor.
yeah,
Um, before being, before becoming Vader's apprentice is gonna be really cool to see. So
yeah.
looks like they're doing the same format as with Tales of the Jedi, because Tales of the Jedi, I think
Right.
the first three were about
Yeah,
Ahsoka, and then the last three were about Dooku and how he, turned to the dark side. So it does feel like it's the same format here. We're getting two different stories told, and I agree with you. I think it's gonna be six. So it's gonna be three for Morgan Elsbeth and three for Barris. I do agree with you. I do think they're going to be longer shorts. I hope that they're still, you know, actual shorts. um,
Yeah, because they did such a good
because
job of that
we don't.
format. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I really hope they keep the same format because it just works so well for Tales of
Yeah.
the Jedi. And like you said, I'm just excited to see these two characters in their development
Yeah.
because it'll bring a lot more light to their characters now that we, especially for Morgan Elsbeth, that we have her in live action. It'll
Hmm.
be really nice to see how her character has developed over time before the Morgan Elsbeth that we see now in live action. So
Yeah.
I'm just honestly, and obviously seeing Vader is always amazing. So I can't wait to see what they do with Vader in this as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm honestly just super excited. I can't wait. It's gonna be amazing.
Yeah. Coming on May 4th too. So that's gonna be neat.
May the fourth be with you.
Yeah. So we got that release date with it. So that was pretty neat. Yeah, man. And, I do got to wonder, though. I mean, my obvious instinct is just like what you were saying. I do think it is going to be the six shorts again and all that. But would be really neat, just based on the prior rumors that I heard that Kylo Ren was going to be somehow involved in this. If they did go into uh, prior rumors again, but that was back when I thought it was going to be Tales of the Jedi, so it made more sense that way. But I do wonder if they could do the Rise of the First Order with Kylo Ren involved in that, and it might not be
And then
the Empire, but
Knights
it's
of
an
Ren, right? Yeah.
Empire. You know what I mean? And they
Yeah.
could do
True.
something like that. So if it expands beyond what we saw in the trailer, that would be pretty neat if they wanted to do that. So yeah, I'm just interested in whatever this is. I do hope that there are surprises. I do hope maybe there's a storyline that we're not thinking of, maybe that just gets integrated on top of all that too. But if they just want to give us the six shorts and it's just going to be Barris and Morgan, then I'm fine with that too. So either way. All right,
No, for
so
sure.
that's a good place to wrap it up. I think we've hit the hour 49 mark here, so I think that's a good spot. But I want to thank everybody for joining once again. This has been a lot of fun talking about all this stuff. I'm excited for my event this weekend. I can't wait to come back and tell everybody about that. So make sure you tune in to hear all about that, and make sure you subscribe so you get the notifications for all the shows that we do on the channel here. Looking into getting the camera fixed so everybody knows I'm not planning to keep it this way. Although this is a little bit better than it was, I think, on the last video I did. I
No,
think that
yeah,
this
for
is
sure.
it's still not where I want it to be. So I'll get this fixed, I promise. Anyway, so thank you guys again for joining. It's been a lot of fun here. Jose, before we go, where can people find you?
You can find me at what's it, Latino Spicy King on all socials.
All right,
Well,
man.
not all socials. YouTube and Instagram. That's it.
Fantastic. And once again, I'm Dom Martino. Thank you guys for joining. You guys can find me on Twitter at Dom_Martino_, on Instagram, Dom_Martino_official. Please follow the Extract Media pages at Extract Media blog across both platforms. It's Keep tuning in to Movie Mornings. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave some feedback in the comment section, share this with your friends, hit the bell for notifications. Thank you so much for being here, and we will talk to you guys later.
See you.